Today we're looking at notes 8-5, dividing polynomials, this time using synthetic division. This works if and only if the divisor is linear and the coefficient on x is 1. So basically the divisor not only has to have a coefficient of 1, but the exponent on the x has to be 1. That means it's linear. So if you want to take 3x to the third minus x squared minus 2x minus 10 and divide it by x minus 2, also like long division, the dividend must be in standard form with any missing terms included. Okay, this is how the setup for synthetic division works. I think once you get the hang of it, you'll like it even more than long division. So what you need to do first is you need to take the divisor off to the side, and you need to set it equal to 0 and solve. Which, as you can imagine, add 2, you're going to get x equals 2. Okay, and what that tells you is the number that goes here on the outside. So, opposite of long division, instead of drawing the house like up, you draw it like this. And then I've kind of done this up here to help you with what goes inside here. So notice the dividend starts with x cubed. That's why I started with x cubed here. And then I went down from there. X cubed, x squared, x, and then the number. So what goes inside here is the coefficients from the dividend. So the coefficient on the x cubed term is 3. The coefficient on the x squared term is -1. The coefficient on the x term is -2. And the number is -10. Okay? And then from there, there's a pattern. It always works this way. Always drag down the first number, so that's 3. Okay, always do that. And then from there, we start a pattern. Multiply, add, multiply, add. So you take this number, 2 times 3, which is 6. That's what goes here. 2 times 3 is 6. And then -1 plus 6 is 5. Okay, that's the difference between long division and synthetic division. Also, on synthetic division, you're always adding, never subtracting. And then same process all over again. 2 times 5. 2 times 5 is 10. That's what goes here. -2 plus 10 is 8. Same process all over again. 2 times 8 is 16. -10 plus 16 is 6. So this is going to be our remainder. So my final answer for this is going to be down 1 degree from the dividend. So my final answer is going to be 3x, this is going to be squared because the dividend was x cubed. So 3x squared plus 5x plus 8 plus 6 over, the divisor was x minus 2. So notice I started 1 degree less than up here, and then I just went down from there. 3x squared, 5x plus 8 with a remainder of 6 over x minus 2. And so that, my friends, is our final answer. So like I said, with the hang of it, I think you'll start to like this even more. So here's our next problem. X cubed minus 3x minus 2 divided by x plus 1. So again, take the divisor off to the side, set it equal to 0. Obviously, minus 1, we get x equals -1. So -1 is what goes right here on the outside. And then our coefficients from, remember it started at x to the third, that would be 1. There is no x squared term, so here we need to put 0. The x term, the coefficient is -3, and the number is -2. So like I said before, always drag down the first. So drag that down and then start your process, multiply, add. -1 times 1 is -1. And then 0 plus -1 is -1. -1 times -1 is 1. -3 plus 1 is -2. And then -1 times -2 is 2. -2 plus 2 is 0. Okay, so our final answer is 1 degree less from the original was x squared. So 1x squared, the 1 isn't really needed, minus 1, again the 1 isn't really needed, x minus 2, and there's no remainder. So there you go. We are all done. So these numbers down here become the coefficients on the answer, as you can see. All right, next example, 3x to the 5th minus 2x to the 4th minus 6x cubed divided by x minus 1. The reason I chose this example is because I always get lots of questions. Once I start out here with x to the 5th, then x to the 4th, then x to the 3rd, do I have to go all the way to the number? Yes, you do. So what's going to happen is I put the coefficient of 3 here, negative 2 here, negative 6 here, and then I've got to fill in zeros all the way down to the number. So if it stops there at x cubed, you've got to go all the way down to the number and fill in zeros. So remember here, if you haven't already gotten the hang of it, it's going to be the opposite sign, so positive 1 here. Okay, so start our process. Drag the first down, then multiply. 1 times 3 is 3. Negative 2 plus 3 is 1. 1 times 1 is 1. Negative 6 plus 1 is negative 5. 1 times negative 5 is negative 5. 0 plus negative 5 is negative 5. Multiply 1 times negative 5. Negative 5. 0 plus negative 5 is negative 5. Same thing again. 1 times negative 5 is negative 5. 0 times negative 5 is negative 5. So my final answer would be 3 x to the 4th, 1 degree less than x to the 5th, plus x to the 3rd, because that's a 1, minus 5x squared, minus 5x, minus 5 with a remainder of negative 5 over x minus 1. And that's my final answer. Okay, another problem I want to do with you guys. Okay, you're thinking, this is so easy. Why do I need to do any more? Well, let's look at a few more. Okay, so 2x to the 3rd plus 6x squared plus x plus 3 divided by x plus 3. So my coefficients here would be 2, 6, 1, 3. Take the opposite sign of that, which would be negative 3, put it here. Start my process, drag down 2. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. 6 plus negative 6 is 0. 0 times negative 3 is 0. 1 plus 0 is 1. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. 3 plus negative 3 is 0. So here on this problem, again, 1 less degree than x to the 3rd, so 2x squared. But since that's a 0, remember that would be your x term. So this is the x squared term, this is the x term. Then this would be the number, so it'd just be 2x squared plus 1. You don't need to write the placeholder of the 0x. And then there's no remainder, so you'd go ahead and box it up. Okay, so I just wanted to show you what would happen if you got a 0 for an answer here. Okay, last one I want to do with you guys. 6x cubed minus 5x squared plus 9 divided by x plus 1 half. Oops, excuse me, 1/2. So same thing, when you set x plus 1/2 equal to 0 and solve, you just subtract 1/2 from both sides. So same as you probably suspected, I'm just showing you that all that's going to happen is it's going to turn to a negative 1/2 that goes here. Okay, so this should be 6. The x squared term would be negative 5. There is no x term, so I need to put a 0. And then 9. Okay, and put my little box for the remainder. Drag the first one down. 6 comes straight down. Negative 1/2 times 6 is negative 3. 5 plus negative 3 is negative 8. Negative 1/2 times negative 8 is positive 4. 0 plus 4 is 4. 4 times negative 1/2 is negative 2. 9 plus negative 2 is 7. Okay, so I also wanted you to tell me if this is a factor. So my final answer is 6x squared minus 8x plus 4 plus the remainder of 7 over x plus 1/2, which is really a no-no in math because you shouldn't have a fraction over a fraction, but we will learn how to deal with that another day. So don't worry about it today. Leave it like that, and then answer this question. Is that a factor? Is this binomial a factor? Well, hopefully you're saying, no way. No, it's not a factor. Why? You guessed it, because there was a remainder.